What's interesting about the Seth Rich murder conspiracy is that it appeals to both sides of the political spectrum. The MSM calls this an alt-right conspiracy theory when in fact, Rich was a progressive Bernie Sanders supporter. The right-wing media lies about it and the left-wing media suppresses it. If it weren't for the internet community, this conspiracy would be easily buried and forgotten. But what is the conspiracy? Let's take a look at the real facts in this case. All claims made are sourced in the description. Around 2:30 a.m., July 10th, 2016, Seth left Lou's City Bar for the Wonderland Ballroom. Google Maps approximates this to be an 8-minute walk. Bar staff at the Wonderland didn't recognize his picture, so it's unclear whether he made it. What is clear, however, is the fact that Seth was on the phone with his girlfriend at 4:19 a.m., and police patrolling the area heard gunshots at 4:20 a.m. Police officers found Seth laying at 2100 Flagler Place, over a half an hour on foot from Lou's City Bar. He was conscious and talkative with police and paramedics, and he was taken to the hospital by ambulance where he was pronounced dead at 5:57 a.m. by an unnamed medical examiner. So not only did it take them an hour to get to the hospital, but also an anonymous user on 4chan claiming to be a fourth-year surgery resident on call at the time Seth arrived, stated Seth had no fatal wounds and was completely stable before a group of law enforcement officers rushed in, blocked the door, and hours later Seth happened to die from blood loss. So what conceived this conspiracy? Seth was the voter expansion data director for the DNC and according to later claims appeared to be disillusioned upon discovering the primaries were rigged from Bernie in favor of Hillary Clinton. WikiLeaks verified this by leaking emails proving the scandal, and founder Julian Assange later hinted that the 27-year-old Seth was the source of the DNC leaks.
Our whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old, works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
no.
But he wasn't the only one to assert this claim, including notorious hacker Guccifer 2.0, Kim.com, and the now debunked claim from private investigator Rod Wheeler, who was misrepresented and misled by Fox News in what seemed to be an attempt to boost ratings. However, Wheeler did breach a non-disclosure agreement giving Seth's parents the right to sue, but for now, they terminated his employment and made a statement condemning his claims and requesting their son's case not be politicized. The mainstream media then misconstrued this as a source to debunk the entire conspiracy. The problem with that is, whether you believe Wheeler or not, he still stands by his claims that sources inside the DCPD revealed they had been told to stand down on the Seth Rich case. Also, the Profiling Project, a group of forensic psychology graduates and instructors from George Washington University, volunteered to do a study on the Seth Rich case. In an 80-page report, they concluded that it was not a botched robbery or a random homicide because his valuables were not taken, and the perpetrator was most likely a hired killer that is still at large. They came to this conclusion based on the lack of evidence left at the crime scene and the mere lack of behavior behind the shooting. They also discovered that there is a plethora of video surveillance of the crime scene available, yet DCPD only requested footage from one place, the Flagler Market, a block down the street which apparently had grainy and poor quality resolution, but did show two men approach Seth, knock him down, and shoot him twice in the back. They also clarified that the process of the investigation is being hampered both actively and passively. But why? Where's the motive? The only known motive here is that the DNC elites may have discovered Seth was the disgruntled whistleblower and feared he would obliterate the Trump-Russia collusion narrative. DNC chair at the time, John Podesta, also claimed he had no problem making an example of suspected leakers. And as it turns out, a trauma doctor at the hospital Seth was apparently taken to attended one of John Podesta's fundraising events. Then, Donna Brazil, the high-ranking DNC official who was caught feeding Hillary questions before the debate, apparently had called Seth's parents and the DCPD, asking why they were snooping around in Seth's case. Some more relevant news has showed that the DNC has been very uncooperative in aiding the investigation. But more importantly, GOP lobbyist Jack Berkman has filed a lawsuit against the DCPD in pursuit of key details in the Seth Rich case. Berkman is demanding three things: The body cam footage of the 3 first responders on the scene, the medical examiner's report, and the ballistics report. There's also a combined $500,000 in rewards for solving the Rich murder. Clearly, there is a vast amount of interest in this case regardless of what coverage the mainstream media gives it. It's already obvious the story is getting suffocated. After this, Google Seth Rich and see how long it takes you to find anything you saw in this video. We have to support this lawsuit, and we have to support these Freedom of Information Act requests. Get the truth from the DCPD, and most importantly, get justice for Seth Rich.